So word on the street is that some of the men at the Met Gala need to be arrested by the fashion police.
Oh, wee woo, wee woo. The sirens are coming, Chris Hemsworth.
Women's standards for dressing has always been higher than men, but also women have more options, which is also really nice. And for the Met Gala, I just saw tweet after tweet talking about the men that were just wearing the most boring basic suits, or maybe there was only like a slight little detail. And people were saying these outfits are lazy and bad and not suited for the Met Gala. So for those of you that don't know, this year's theme was Sleeping Beauty's Reawakening Fashion, and the dress code was the Garden of Time. Chris Hemsworth's suit/outfit was pretty simple. It was just like a tan suit, and people were saying, "What the hell, dude? What are you doing here? This is the Met Gala. This is high fashion. Come on. Get your head in the game." And you know, at first I was on board with them. I was like, yeah, like dude, just add a little bit of detailing in there, something, a pocket watch for Christ's sake, anything. But then I saw this really good Twitter post, as so many stories start, defending the men in simple suits by @dieworkwear. Derek guy. The point that they get to is that they disagree with the sentiment on Twitter where people think men are lame for attending a gala in white or black tie, the two forms of formal wear for men, black tie being more commonly known as a tuxedo in the United States. Black tie is always appropriate for a ball or gala. Here are some photos of Met Galas in the past. Even women wore black tie. Some more photos of Met Galas in the past, this time in color. None of these outfits look boring to me, but rather beautiful. And he goes on to quote Tom Ford, "It used to be just very chic people wearing beautiful clothes going to an exhibition about the 18th century. You didn't have to look like the 18th century. You didn't have to dress like a hamburger. You didn't have to arrive in a van where you were standing up because you couldn't sit down because you wore a chandelier." Derek Guy, the Twitter poster, goes on and says, "A well-executed white or black tie ensemble is always going to be better to me than a wild idea that looks like it was done poorly." So maybe we should be less harsh on the guys in basic suits? But also, he says, if we recognize that clothing is an extension of ourselves, then we should also recognize that not every man wants to or can pull off something avant-garde. These two men don't look boring to me. They look beautifully dressed and like themselves. You know, I think two things can be true at the same time. Sure, they're beautifully dressed. Sure, they're dressed like themselves. But at the same time, I think there is still a bit of a warrant for the audience and the observer to say, okay, well, who they are then, artistically speaking, is kind of boring. It's kind of giving nothing. And that's fine to say. That's fine to say. But just maybe we shouldn't harp on the more basic or boring Met Gala outfits as much, even though I know it's mostly in fun and games. It's just a little bit of fashion criticism, thought commentary for you, I guess.